What's up, music fans of the internet? I'm Derek,
And I'm Kevin.
and together we're last week's album. We're bringing you two opinions on the best new music, and this week we're talking about First Bath by Avid Dancer. And we're asking the big question, will First Bath leave you feeling fresh and clean or cold and wet? But before we dive right in, let's start things off like we always do, drinking a beer. Cheers, Kevin, and cheers, everyone at home.
Cheers, Derek, and everyone at home.
And bad pun aside, don't try diving into your bath. Quick caveat. So, Avid Dancer is Jacob Summers, and this is his debut album. He really interesting story. He grew up in a very strict religious household and wasn't exposed to secular music until his late teens. He has a background as a drummer, winning some awards, and actually, he joined the Marines. He enlisted on September 12th, 2001, which I thought was really interesting. And he actually was in some of the elite bugle and drum corps stuff in the Marines there. So since his tour with the military, he's kind of come back to music. And First Bath is his debut album. And one other interesting story. The lettering Avid Dancer on his album cover in red characters is actually written in his own blood. I've heard of putting blood, sweat, and tears into a project, but this guy is literally putting his blood on it. So that was kind of rad. So without further ado, let's start with Sounds Like. Kevin, what'd you think First Bath sounds like?
Yeah, I didn't know that story about blood, which I think makes this album sound a lot more hardcore than it sounds, if you will. But I think it sounds like soaking in a bay of psychedelia, soft rock, and chillwave until your fingers get all pruny. What do you think, Derek?
That's good. That's good. I think if you squint hard enough, First Bath sounds like all your favorite bands, past, present, and future.
If you squint your ears hard enough.
Exactly. They all. It's crazy. We'll kind of talk about it. So that brings us to key tracks. Kevin, what did you have?
I'm actually going with album closer number 12, which is called "Up Against a Wall." What about you?
I'm actually going with All Words Are Gone, which is track 3. And usually we go in sequential order, but not today. Kevin, why don't you kick us off with the album closer?
Sure. We'll start with the end. This one has some really booming drums, some very sunny, hazy guitars, falsetto vocals, shimmering synths. Later, the guitars and synths get all scorchingly psychedelic, and the repeated title sort of trances you into this Trippy Days. It's a really nice closer. It's a barn burner that I totally didn't expect, given the much shorter and punchier and poppier tracks prior to that song on the album. And I really think it's a nice closer because not only bends your ear, but it sort of shows what he's capable of beyond those really tight 3-minute tracks. So definitely check out Up Against a Wall. Maybe even listen to it first. Who knows? What about your key track, Derek?
I'm going All Words Are Gone. This one's almost pushing 4 minutes, I think, but still, kind of a tight pop song. Although on this one, it's really more Americana or alt country sounding. It really opens with this strummed acoustic guitar. There are soft drums, which kind of galloping drums, similar to a horse trotting, if you will. There are backing vocal oohs, which kind of add a hazy effect. In the second verse, a xylophone comes in. I mean, what else would you expect from a decorated percussionist than xylophone? There's subtle electric guitar that enters towards the end. It's also kind of augmented by this little, what sounds like slide guitar riff towards the end, kind of adds a unique twist there. The vocal melody I thought was interesting because it really kind of changed between verse and chorus. The verse was much more fluid, legato, and overall kind of had a falling melody. The chorus, it wasn't necessarily staccato, but it was much more so comparatively, more upbeat, just kind of added just some energy there. Overall, I just thought it created this really nice Americana-ish sounding tune. Very nice, kind of slow build. And again, kind of the way he brings in the instruments is very adds a psychedelic twist to it. Lyrically, I thought the chorus said it all, and this is a good time to segue into best lyric. So, Kevin, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, speaking of, my best lyric comes from All Your Words Are Gone. And it goes, throw away all things not worth needing, open your eyes and start believing. And I know it can sound maybe a little cheesy or a little cliche, but I don't know, something about hearing it in the context of the song makes it work. And I'm really willing to forgive that level of cheese because, you know, he just does it so well in this one song. What about you, Derek? What was your best lyric?
Mine's coming from another kind of downer Americana-ish all country song here. Why Did I Leave You Behind? I think the track title says it all right there. And he says, funny how the things I've hated toss around my mind like there was something unkind. If I had more time to have you, maybe I'd be fine. Why did I leave you behind? Why can't I read my notes? I just add that last part. Really enjoyed just the imagery there of kind of I guess the tough thoughts and you can't get rid of them, and just the way it sticks with you. So I think that one stands in contrast, to yours. I think there were definitely some points where a little underwhelming lyrically, but then there were some other ones that were really nice as well as in context. But I think I'm jumping ahead of myself and almost talking about an overall rating, so I digress. And Kevin, I'm going to kick it to you for overall rating and answering the question, will First Bath leave you feeling fresh and clean or cold and wet?
Sure. I'll start with pros and cons and then answer and give you a rating. On the pros side, I think it shows plenty of range within his sort of psych rock pop palette. Even touches on disco in All the Other Girls and 80s. And I Want to See You Dance. And as you mentioned, country, Derek, Why Did I Leave You Behind? I think he puts in lots of smart nuance within songs and also from track to track. And the album flows really well. On the con side, the lyrics were a little simple. The sounds are a little familiar. It can make it a little bit, I don't know, elevator music-ish. And then also his style is sort of so dreamy. I thought the slower numbers, namely Whatever's on Your Mind and Nobody Else, kind of get too dreamy and too hazy and you almost kind of fall asleep. At least I did. But I think it's a really strong debut. I think it leaves you feeling fresh and clean. And I'm going to give this one a very strong 3 out of 5. What about you, Derek?
I completely agree with you. I think this does leave you feeling fresh and clean. I had a lot of similar takeaways. Overall, I thought it was, given his background, I thought it was really interesting, with his limited, or I guess exposure to some popular music over the last couple of years. Things sound familiar, but I think it's to his credit that nothing, it didn't sound like he was carbon copying, whatever the heck he just listened to. I totally agree. I think for a debut album, he shows considerable range here, and it never really felt overextended or out of place at all. I totally agree with you. I thought at times, as I kind of alluded to earlier, maybe a little underwhelming lyrically. But then again, this is his debut album. Obviously he comes from a more technically musical standpoint with his percussion background. And if anything, I'm looking forward to his continued growth as a lyricist going forward. That being said, overall, I'm giving this a strong 3 out of 5 as well. So that makes First Bath a 6 out of 10. So you should go check it out because I really enjoyed it. Don't forget to wash behind your ears and subscribe to us at last week's album, where we will continue to bring you 2 opinions on the best new music. And as always, I'm Derek.
I'm Kevin.
Cheers.